Do you want to help your parents on a relative level or ultimate level? Do you want to help your parents for one lifetime or many lifetimes? Do you want to repay their kindness once or permanently? That's the question you have to ask yourself. That's one. Second thing is, irrelevant of what other people think of us, Dharma practice definitely benefits us and people all around us. And for doing Dharma practice, which is supreme and benefiting ourselves and others, we have to make some concessions. We have to make some concessions. If we don't make some concessions, or we don't make our lives in such a way where we can do our things and what we want to do, then we're forever dependent on our parent. And is that serving our parents? Is that serving our parents? So I'm going to touch on a very sensitive issue, which is, in the East, a lot of people, if they're not married or they're single, male or female, they live with their parents even until they're 50. Well, if you want to live with your parents and you want your parents to support you and you work for them, or you get a salary and you draw from them, you have to follow the rules that they set out. So you're not going to have any chance to practice. You're not going to have any chance to do anything you like when they don't like. That's the fact of life. So how do you make a differentiation? So if you want to live with your parents, or if you're dependent on their income and help, you're not bad. But suddenly if you find something big and fabulous and wonderful and you know it's great and it's going to change everything, and they don't like it, that's the end of that story, right? So what do you suggest? Do you suggest a Lama to tell you, hey, move out. Hey, go against your parents. Hey, get your own job. Hey, become independent. Hey, become independent and make your own money your own way so that you can do what you want. Ultimately, the only way that people can hold us is emotional or financial. Emotional, financial, ultimately, that's the way people can hold us. Anybody. If we depend on them financially, we're going to have to, in a job, we have to kowtow to our boss and what they like. Whether we like it or not, because we need the paycheck. Emotionally, if someone's been very kind to us, we have to forfeit some things that we like and adopt some things we don't like in order to pay them back emotionally. So it puts myself and everybody in a very difficult bind, because in Asia, this is for everybody out there, there's a big phenomenon of parents saying, you owe me, you got to take care of me, and you need to be filial. And that's very strong. That's good. That's good. But that leaves very little freedom for the kids, and sometimes kids are stuck forever. In the West, there's the totally opposite feeling, totally opposite, where disrespect is prevalent, and not taking care of older people and parents is prevalent, and that's also very bad. Why? You're totally thinking about yourself. This side, you can't think about yourself at all. That's samsara, isn't it? Either way, you lose. There's no balance. So if you're in the East, you suffer if you're an independent person. If you're in the West and you're a dependent person, you suffer. There's no way to win. That's samsara. There's no good or bad. There's no better or worse. But we need to check. If we want to do something, for example, if we want to do Dharma practice, we have to check our parents. We have to check our situation. We have to check where we're coming from. And how committed we are, we will find a way. We will find a way to do it. But if you're going to be dependent on your parents for anything, it makes it very difficult, doesn't it? Then what can I advise? What can I say? What can I do? It's going to be up to you. And people here are educated. People here are exposed. People here are very, very exposed. And they know what they need to do. But what they need to do is to take responsibility for themselves and make the first step. Sometimes that sounds harsh and difficult and disrespectful, but I'm not meaning it that way. What I'm meaning is to tell you the truth. But I'm not telling you anything that we don't know or you don't know. You know all of that. So if you wish to go that way, you're going to have these restrictions. And it isn't just about study of Dharma, it's many things. If you're going to go the other way, then sometimes you're going to be worried about salary and payment if you mess up, if you don't do your job. But then you have freedom in another way. You have to, you yourself choose what you really find important. Is it just the sustenance, just the money, just the easy life, that's what you want for the rest of your life? Or do you want to grow in another way, so you have to sacrifice in another way to get something back? You have to make a concession. You have to choose. To always make an excuse, to always say, to always cover, or always not even cover or make an excuse, to always use that as an excuse to yourself that you can't progress. in anything, including spiritual practice, then you're holding yourself back. Why? It's in your hands. If you choose that path, it comes with rules and regulations. If you choose this path, it comes with rules and regulations. When I lived with my parents, everything was taken care of. Everything. Financially. I was physically abused, meaning beaten and all that stuff, and verbally abused, but they were not stingy. I got what I want. I got a lot of toys. I got a lot of clothes that they liked, not what I liked. Food was not a problem. My mother would buy food just for me. And everything, I didn't have to worry about bills. And if I wanted to go to college, they'll pay for everything. They told me that when I was in California. I called them New Jersey. I told them I'm going to go to India to become a monk. They said, don't ever call us again. But if you want to go to college, call us. We'll pay for everything. We'll buy you a car. We'll take care of everything. They weren't rich, but they were okay. So I said, okay, go back to New Jersey, get a car, go to college, get a degree, have a secure life, and then practice Dharma, or do Dharma now. I chose now. So what happened to me in California? I starved to death. I starved to death for 10 years, California and India. I didn't have money. I worked in odd-end jobs. It was very scary. If I messed up in a job, I get fired. I did get fired once. And it was insecure. And I ate liver and beans every single day for months when I first moved out. Why? Beans are very cheap and liver is very, very cheap in America. You buy big pounds and pounds of liver in these round containers at the supermarket. And it's meat, it's protein. I was starving. I go back to my little crappy apartment in Los Angeles on Sunset Boulevard, and I eat crappy food. And someone gave me a really crappy rundown television that was black and white that I put a hanger on top. It's just like in the movies to make it work, and I have to move the hanger around to make it work every day. I had no furniture. I had a whole bunch of pictures stuck on the wall as my altar, and a $5 Buddha that I found at a thrift store. And I was scared to death, where am I going to pay my bills? And I made $400 or $500 US a month. Even that time is very, very minimal. And then I went to apply for Social Security for help. They said, under 18, you need your parental signature unless you're a runaway. I dare not do that. So when I turned 18, I went for help. They said, now you can work. I couldn't get any financial help from the government at all. I couldn't get any grants, nothing at all. And it was a real big fear not to be able to pay my rental, because where am I going to live? And I lived on the streets. I stayed on the streets. I begged for food. And I don't like it. It was very scary. It was very difficult to sleep on the streets. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. I suffered tremendously. And I wouldn't want to ever sleep on the streets again. But I'd rather sleep on the streets and do Dharma than go home and not do Dharma. That was my commitment. And I stayed away. And I called my parents. And I wrote to them. Because my guru told me to. And I sent them small little gifts sometimes. And I sent them cards. They rejected it. They told me not to write to them. Not to contact our relatives. I'm ashamed. I'm an embarrassment. That I made my bed and I slept in it. If I don't have money, too bad. That I did that to myself. Too bad. That's what they wrote to me in a letter. Don't ask us for money. I asked them for $50 US a month to support me in the monastery. My father said, you embarrass us, you're a shame. You ruined your life. Don't ask us for money and don't embarrass us by asking any of our relatives. That was his last letter to me. And then he died. You don't know the pain. You don't know the pain I experienced. $50 US a month? And you want to send me to college, buy me a car, and you can't give me that? I'm your son. I am your son. I'm starving. I'm in India. Are you that extreme and harsh? I said, never mind. I am not going back. Why? I'm going to seek attainments. I'm going to be attained. That's what I thought at that time. Whatever you want to think of that, maybe it's childish or maybe it's fantasies, that's what I thought at the time. That's the truth. I'm going to be attained. I'm not going to go for comforts. And I thought, where is that going to lead me? Where is that going to lead me? I know after I'm educated, they're going to force me to get married. They're going to force me to have 20 sons. They're going to force me to do all those things that I don't want to do. Why don't I want to do that? Because I saw the uselessness behind it many years ago. I know what they're going to do. So if I'm going to put myself in that, I have to be stuck with it. So when she asks me this question, it's very, very applicable. And I'm not saying any of this to give her an indirect hint or to put her down or to suggest anything to her. No, I'm not. I'm telling you that if we put ourselves in that situation, that's what happens. We have to make do. We have to find a way. And I think we can find a way if we want to balance both sides. Leave your parents, disrespect them? No. 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 I left my parents, but I didn't disrespect them. I was burning with passion to do Dharma, to meditate, to retreat, to find my Guru, burning with passion daily. And I went all the way through with it. If you can go all the way through with it, then you do so. But if you can't, don't go on this romantic spiritual journey that you're going to turn around and then look for a safe haven again and free food and money from your parents. Don't. Not everybody can do what I did. I suffered tremendously. I'm not going to romanticize it at all. I suffered tremendously in the United States. I suffered tremendously in the beginning years of Ganden. I suffered tremendously when I first came to this country in 92. Suffered tremendously. From poverty, lack of food, malnutrition, literally malnutrition. I suffered tremendously. I will not change any of that. Why am I not going to change any of that? Because I have my convictions. I made a promise to Song Rinpoche. And that's all. I don't debate anymore. I don't think anymore. My Lama is Hiruka. My Lama gave me a choice and I picked it. And I took refuge with my Lama. And if I have to starve and die to keep my promise to my Lama, I will. Simple as that. Because my spiritual conviction is stronger than my need for food and money and comfort. My spiritual conviction to achieve something with my mind, with this opportunity, is much stronger than my need for food and a house. It's much stronger, even now. I will never give up my spiritual convictions, never. I've had this my whole life, and I've lived it my whole life. And it's been a lot of ups and downs, but Dharma has never disappointed me. Because there's nothing to disappoint, it's my attitude. So for people who are living with their parents, yes, they're very kind to you, they're very good to you, but you have your restrictions, but that's your choice. Those who are not living with their parents, you have your restrictions, you have your difficulties, and you have made a choice. With both of those, we have to work with it. But by all means, I recommend everybody here and always to respect your parents and not to hurt them purposely. Sometimes they make hurt for themselves because they are people too, they make mistakes, but you don't do it intentionally. And to help them on an ultimate level, to help your parents on an ultimate level, is to gain spiritual attainments, like the Buddha went back to teach the Dharma to his mother and his father. That's the real way. To make offerings for your parents, to do meditations, to hold your vows, to be committed, to do work in a Dharma center, because that's what the phenomenon in this country is, Dharma centers. To do practices and meditations and dedicate it to our parents, it has value. So if we want to help them on a relative level, be with them, eat with them, hee hee ha ha, hang around with them, gong si fa chai, that's on a relative level. If we want to help them on an ultimate level, we practice Dharma, we practice it all the way, and we gain attainments. And then we will help them on a relative way and an ultimate way. Why? Once they see our attainments and how different we are, they will change. So we help them on a relative level and an ultimate level. That is the truth. It's a little hard to listen to, but it's the truth. We have to make our choice. And sometimes if we're stuck in a certain decision we have made, then for the time being we have to work with it. We have to work with it. That's very important. But commitment is an important thing. Commitment to yourself first, meaning to achieve something more. Now is the time. I went through tremendous difficulties for my commitment. Tremendous. I have only told you the tip of the iceberg of all that I've gone through as a child. And the thing that for many days as a child, after I ran away, I would be in my apartment alone in Los Angeles, very depressed, very sad, and scared. I can tell you the pervasive feeling was fear, because I had no financial support. I was thrown out suddenly. And if something went wrong, I don't know what to do. I even contemplated prostitution at one time. I did. Why? A lot of people ask me to provide those services and they'll give me money. Big money. I was asked a few times. I did not. Why did I do not? Because I'm holier than thou? Because I'm a reformed evangelist Buddhist? No. I didn't want to lose control. You see, if I left my parents to do Dharma practice, if I'm under someone to do that kind of thing, I lose control of what I'm going to do anyways. What's the difference? For me, I have no attachment to my body, whatever. When I die, it's going to be a corpse. But I got so desperate at one time, I contemplated prostitution because I had 2 male prostitute friends one is a very nice person, a very kind person, who went the wrong way, and he's educated. He makes a lot of money, but because he got hooked on alcohol and drugs, he lost his job. And he's so talented, he's so kind. When he's not on drugs and he's not drinking alcohol, he's a very good-looking guy. He's got a wonderful girlfriend. He's got wonderful friends. He's got a wonderful education. But when he drank, he lost his job. He lost his friends. He lost his girlfriend. He lost everything. And to make money quickly, to survive, he would have to prostitute. I forgot how I met him, actually. And he used to give me his clothes because I didn't have money to buy clothes. He would give me his clothes. We were pretty much the same size because he was quite tall too. And I remember wearing his sweaters and some of his clothes and stuff. And before I left LA, he started coming to Dharma Center. I introduced him to Geshe-la. I was so happy because he was a good friend. But that's life in America. That's life for a 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old boy. When you can't get good jobs, when you don't have parental help, when you want to do your Dharma practice, what else can you do? You get caught by the police, you get sent to juvenile detention, which is a small kid's jail until you're 18. I don't want to go to juvie. I know what happens in juvie every night. They rape young boys. They told me, a lot of street kids told me, don't go to juvie. They tell you. When I heard that, I said, no way, no thank you. No thank you. I suffered tremendously as a child. But let me tell you one thing. It was for the Dharma. It was for spiritual practice. It wasn't to hurt my parents. It wasn't to get back. It wasn't to prove a point. I just wanted to receive initiation. I wanted to do my sadhana. I wanted to be in a cave somewhere in America so badly to do my meditation practice. I wanted that so bad. I didn't want anything else. And I went through it, and I suffered for it. I wish it could have been different, but I would never have changed my spiritual convictions. Never. Even if you turn time back, I would never change my spiritual convictions. Because now that I'm this age, 20 years later, what is there? If I had done business, if I had a family, or if I had done all those things, where am I going to be now? Even more lost than I am now. No way. Maybe I would have done things differently. But I did my best. I tried to contact my parents. They ignored me. Now both my step-parents have passed away. And I found out my stepmother, although she denied me because I became a monk, had kept my picture as a monk in her wallet. They found out when she died. When she died, I was in Japan. I had pujas done for her. Oh, it's very painful. Because she says I hurt her. But I didn't mean it that way. I just couldn't do what she wanted me to do. I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want to leave her. But I had to pursue my spiritual pursuits. I had to. I would have killed myself if I didn't. And I tried. I tried twice to commit suicide because I couldn't practice Dharma. But what's the point? I prayed to Manjushri, closed the curtains, and popped those pills. They knocked me out, and somehow, I don't know, I woke up again. But I'd rather die than not practice Dharma. What else is there? What else is there? There's nothing. So I did that. When I ask people to practice Dharma, it's from my heart. I'm not the golden child. Nobody put some gold robes on me, took me to the monastery and put a wooden spoon and golden yak in my mouth to eat. I suffered, let me tell you. I went through what every runaway American child goes through on those highways and those streets. And one day I'll tell you more. It is frightening. Rinpoches can be scared too. You stick a gun in a Rinpoche's face, he'll be scared. He doesn't want to lose his precious human body to practice the Dharma. And if you pull the trigger suddenly, will he be able to meditate and eject himself in time, or they shoot him before he can? I mean, there's a lot of fears. I'm scared. Starvation, loneliness, rejection was very big. And Los Angeles is a very big city for a little innocent Rinpoche like me. I didn't stay innocent long though. I bucked up. I was beaten. I was slapped and beaten in the streets for just being in the wrong place. I had guns put in my face just for being in the wrong place. What can they rob from me? I don't have anything. And I even had these guys come up to me in big coats and glasses and hats, and they open up, what do you want to buy? And everything's hanging there. I had countless offers to prostitute myself. Countless offers. Countless offers for doing pornography. Countless offers. I'm telling you, I just stand there. I don't look for it. I stand there and mind my own business, and just on the bus stop, these big shiny cars stop by and say, hey, you want to do a movie? Sure. And then we get in the car and we find out it's that type of movie. I don't look for it. It finds me. I mean, this is Los Angeles, right? It sounds glamorous and fun. It should be made into a movie or a book. It's kind of neat. But the golden child, before he was polished gold, this is when they first took him out of the dirt. Wouldn't it be an interesting movie? It would be. Because you never heard of a Rinpoche go through any of this. And some people ask me, if you're a Rinpoche, why'd you go through that? I questioned that for myself for years. Now I know why. Now I know why. Just like the Dalai Lama being born into a humble family, I need to go through all of that. Because if I am a Rinpoche, I'll come out of it all right, won't I? Without harming anyone. And I don't remember harming anyone in those 20 years. I don't remember. At least purposely. So I chased after my dreams. I chased after what I believed in, and I followed my commitments. It wasn't always easy, but I did it. Tremendous, tremendous hardship. Even what I went through in India, tremendous. Visas, passports, money, sponsorship, traveling, sickness, dysentery, you name it. I went through it all. When the rains come, I just sit there and watch my room leak and leak and leak and leak and leak. Nobody helps me. No sponsors, nothing. Getting food was a big ordeal. Very big ordeal. For months, I ate only asham. Flour, Flour, made from corn, from maize. And I mixed that with some Indian sweet tea that I bought from the local canteen, and mix that and make it into little balls and eat that. That's what I ate. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for months when I first arrived in Gandhin. Many monks are like that. Many monks are like that now. Many monks. And to convince people to sponsor, to help, is very difficult. Very, very difficult. You're nobody. You're nothing. You have nothing to offer. Why would they want to help you? Very difficult. I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to have you hero worship me. I'm telling you, nothing is easy, but go through with it. Because if you don't go through with it, it's even harder. It's even harder. I would never choose another path. Never.